Two young Israeli embassy staffers murdered by an anti-Israel man yelling a chant heard for years now on liberal college campuses and streets of major cities. Free, free Palestine. Also, there is only one solution, intifada revolution. It happened last night around 9 p.m. outside the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. According to eyewitnesses, the alleged gunman, Elias Rodriguez, was seen sitting calmly on a bench outside of the event and then pacing back and forth. He approached a group of people leaving the museum and shot two of them at close range. Rodriguez then calmly walked back inside the museum. And in the chaos of the scene, people initially thought he was a victim. One witness saying the shooter said, "I did it. I did it for Gaza. Free, free Palestine." Another witness described those moments to Fox 5 local in D.C.
I did see somebody run in. The security guard happened to let this guy in. I guess they were thinking that he was a victim. And he was covered in rain. He was clearly in trauma. He was in shock. And, some of the people at the event brought him water. They sat him down. "Are you okay? Were you shot? What happened?" And he's like, "Somebody call the cops, bring the cops in." So about 10 minutes later, when the cops actually came in, he put his hands up. He grabbed a red keffiyeh out of his pocket and started the Free Palestine chants. There's only one solution, intifada revolution. And he was being dragged out of the building as he was yelling Free Palestine.
While he was being arrested, the shooter could again be heard screaming Free Palestine, and it was caught on tape.
Outside! No. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine!
That video there from Yuval David. The victims were 28-year-old Yaron Lashinsky and his girlfriend, Sarah Milgram. Yaron reportedly had apparently planned to propose to Sarah next week during a trip to Jerusalem. Oh, it's awful. Here's what we know about the suspect. He's 30 years old. He's got an online biography that says he was born and raised in Chicago. His LinkedIn profile says he graduated from the University of Illinois, Chicago. The Daily Mail and New York Post report that in the past, Rodriguez was involved in activism with the Party for Socialism and Liberation, not to mention Black Lives Matter. The Party for Socialism is a far-left group that regularly posts anti-Israel rhetoric. The group confirmed Rodriguez's membership online, but distanced itself from the shooting, stating, "We have nothing to do with the shooting and do not support it." Cool. However, a few hours earlier, the group had tweeted, "The world will not forget the crimes of the U.S. and Israel." In 2017, this guy participated in a BLM-led protest regarding the 2014 police-involved shooting of Laquan McDonald and Chicago's efforts to bring Amazon's headquarters to the city. The sign Rodriguez held up read, "Money for people's needs, not Amazon." In an interview, Rodriguez said, "Whitening of Seattle is structurally racist and a direct danger to all workers who live in that city." Wow. According to the Jerusalem Post, Rodriguez made a political donation to the Joe Biden campaign in 2020. A short time ago, Ken Klippenstein, an independent journalist who used to work for The Intercept, posted to his own website Rodriguez's alleged manifesto. Please understand, these sometimes turn out to be not the manifesto, but in it, Klippenstein writes, quote, "I am publishing it here not to glorify the violence, but so the public can better understand the truth of what happened. I believe that sunlight is the best disinfectant, especially when politics is involved, as the document makes clear is the case here." That's Klippenstein. But the alleged manifesto, again, heavy caveat here. I've covered so many of these damn fucking shootings, and we often turn out to have what's allegedly a manifesto, and it's not the manifesto. In any event, this one reads, take it for what it's worth, "Public opinion has shifted against the genocidal apartheid state, and the American government has simply shrugged. They'll do without public opinion then, criminalize it where they can, suffocate it with bland reassurances, blah, 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 blah." I'm not reading more of this. You get the idea. He was very anti-Israel. And his own statements on site made that pretty clear. Before we welcome our guest, Michael Knowles, to talk about this story, there was an extraordinary moment on CNN this morning. Another eyewitness to the shooting went on to describe what he saw. And he had a blunt take on the shooting and how it ties into what we've seen on so many of these college campuses. And would you just watch the anchor revolt? You can see she's very uncomfortable with him making this tie. What a shock. Watch this.
As you go forward with what you have seen, can you give us any sense, because you said you looked the shooter in the eyes, can you give us any sense of what you saw in him as he was sort of getting help and people were tending to him as if he too was a victim of seeing this?
Yeah, to be clear, I heard about that part because we were in the secure room when he initially walked in. I just saw him screaming and then being handcuffed. But what I saw in his eyes, I went to Columbia for grad school, and I saw the same thing in his eyes as I saw in the eyes of all the protesters at Columbia. Nothing different between him and them.
But they did not create this horrific shooting. They did not, they didn't shoot.
They gave permission. They gave the permission. And they have called for this. They have called for Intifada revolution, which is the same thing he yelled last night.
Do you worry that there will be a conflation, though, of the two, those people who are speaking their mind, who really
Obviously
care about
not.
what is happening in Gaza, and those people who are like this person who did this horrific shooting, who intend to do harm?
A conflation. They are calling for Intifada. At Columbia University, they call for Intifada constantly. They're not quietly, they're loud. They're loud. You can hear it. They make recordings of themselves. So what's the difference?
Are you afraid?
Yes.
You're an idiot. That is not what you ask the fucking eyewitness. Oh, she's so worried about the tie he's making to the violence that was just unleashed against two people walking out of this Israel event, and what we're hearing on college campuses literally calling for an intifada against anybody who's pro-Israel. So heaven forbid you make that connection. Sorry, it's obvious. No one's saying, Sarah Sider, that they caused it, that they made this guy do it, but it's exactly the same rhetoric. And, Jewish people are getting a little sick of college campuses allowing these people to run around calling for their murder. It's kind of upsetting. But she recoils at him making the connection. Fuck off. I'm sorry. That's so fucking annoying. This July, there is a global summit of BRICS nations in Rio de Janeiro. The bloc of emerging superpowers, including China, Russia, India, and Iran, are meeting with the goal of displacing the US dollar as the global currency. They're calling this the Rio Reset. As BRICS nations push forward with their plans, some worry global demand for US dollars will decrease, bringing down the value of the dollars in your savings. While this transition, if it happens, would not happen overnight, the Rio Reset could mark a pivotal moment. So learn if diversifying your savings into gold is right for you. Birch Gold Group can help you move your hard-earned savings into a tax-sheltered IRA in precious metals. Claim your free info kit on gold by texting MK to the number 989898. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold arm you with a free, no-obligation info kit on owning gold before July and the Rio Reset. Text MK to the number 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.